now proceed on to start with our program proper. Now that we've done the opening ceremony, ladies and gentlemen, our very first presentation will be on our National Rice Development Strategy.
So, going straight to the presentation outline, so I'll take you through the introduction, right through the sustainability mechanisms of the strategy. So by way of introduction, in order to achieve rice self-sufficiency, there is the need for a strategic document which will guide this great nation. The first National Rice Development Strategy, which we refer to as the NRDS1, was developed in 2014. But in 2019, we commissioned a continental investment plan for rice self-sufficiency, which suggested the need for NRDS 1 to be revised. And this particular strategy is a nine-year plan which has identified 8 significant areas to be strengthened in order to achieve rice self-sufficiency by 2030. So the areas of the policy document, which I will go in detail, are on policy formulation, land access and development, rice research and extension, capacity building, inputs and marketing, seed production, mechanization, and of course, funding. So these are going to be the strategic areas that I'll be deliberating on. The second objective is to promote consumption and marketing of locally produced rice through quality improvement and value addition. The third objective is to increase availability of and access to safe and nutritious rice. And the fourth objective is to promote public-private sector collaboration in rice production. So before going to the strategy, I would take you through the demand projection on which some of the estimations used in the document are based on. So the projection that we've calculated together as a team is the projected population growth, which we have identified that to be 3% annual increment in the population, the population growth. So if that's the case, there is going to be an annual increment of the population each and every year. So if that happens, there will be need to feed, to provide more rice to feed the population. So that's what this particular table is showing. So by 2030, what the country is expected to consume in terms of rice is estimated to be 359,000 metric tons. 148,000 metric tons is going to be consumed by the country. So if you look at the paddy that is produced in 2021, that is just providing only 15% of our national rice demand. So as a nation, you can see that there is a huge gap between what we demand in terms of rice and what we are able to produce as a country. So looking at this estimate is about, in 2021, the country needs to close a gap of 85%. So how do we do that as a nation? So that's what this strategy is coming up with, so that we can be able to increase rice production from 15% to 100 by 2030. So some of the key areas of the strategy which I'm going to talk about are as follows. The first one is strengthening the institutional framework and policy development. Second, research, technology, delivery, and capacity building. Production and dissemination of improved rice seeds. The fourth one is fertilizer marketing and distribution. Irrigation and investment in water control technologies. Equipment access and maintenance strategy. Post-harvest and marketing. And last but not the least, finance and credit. So So the other strategy is the seed production and dissemination strategy. Because one good thing is that seed is very vital in the production chain. Because there is no way you can be able to have a good harvest if you don't start with a good seed. So it's the foundation. Yeah. So adequate and timely supply of improved seeds is absolutely needed for increased rice production and productivity. So that's why the strategy is also aware of that. So that's why we have looked into the seed requirements in terms of breeder seed, foundation seed, and certified seed. So in terms of the PhD holders that would be needed for the entire duration of the strategy is about 11 PhD holders, 14 MSc holders, and 32 research technicians. The seed scientists, we would need a total of 14 MSc holders, and then seed technicians of about 32, and then laboratory technicians of 21. So for extension, it would need rice specialists amounting to about 325, and engineers about 50. So this is what we have to work together as what we would need in terms of capacity to be able to implement this strategy. So the other strategic point is on fertilizer marketing and distribution strategies. So what this particular strategy is calling for is to set standards to ensure effective quality fertilizers are available for farmers. Provide fertilizers to farmers on a timely and affordable price. Create the enabling environment for private sector investment, and also encourage the use of organic-based fertilizers, which are also coming up, and also establish new and refurbish whole seed stores around the country. So these are strategies within that particular area. So when it comes to irrigation or water control, I think we are having a lot of issues around this particular area, and then the strategy is partitioned into about three different terms. You have the short term, the medium, and then the long term. So within the short term, what the strategy is advocating for is to carry out maintenance of the irrigation schemes, such as the silting, canal cleaning and leveling and fixing of damaged gates, rehabilitation of water control structures, and promotion of appropriate varieties, which can be done within the short time. But in the medium term is to increase irrigation extension and management, rehabilitation of existing perimeters, and strengthening collaboration and linkages between the players around that. So also, as a strategy, the long-term strategy is to now expand into new areas, because what we have now, rehabilitating that will not ensure food self-sufficiency in terms of rice production. So we may have to expand. So that can be planned in the long term, which is 6 years upwards, to expand into other areas. So equipment access and maintenance strategy is also part of it. To develop and introduce appropriate machines for efficient land preparation, strengthen the capacity of the engineering unit of NARI and DOA is also vital, and train farmers and extension agents in the operation and maintenance of those equipment, and also train local artisans so that they can be able to fabricate equipment locally. So post-harvest and marketing strategy is to promote the production of market-oriented rice variety, those that are in demand. Don't produce what the population is not asking for. Also, when it comes to the post-harvest equipment, we are promoting small to medium scale milling machines, not the large ones, because the stage that we are, we may not be able to provide the rice that would be required for those capacities. So that's why the strategy is calling for a small to medium, and also promoting the adoption of appropriate post-harvest technologies. Set standard to monitor and control the quality of local rice, and then registration of operators to ensure compliance with those standards. Because if you want people to meet the demand, you have to make sure that you meet the requirement, the standard set, and also establish warehouses for milled rice at central locations around the country. So now to the financing strategy, which this particular document is calling for, is a public-private sector partnership, because the investment from the private sector is also very important if we want to achieve self-sufficiency. So looking at the total finance that would be needed to fund all the key areas of the strategy is about 764,271,959 over a period of 9 years. So the cost breakdown of that is what is in this particular table. So due to lack of time, I'll just run quickly and move to the monitoring and evaluation. So if the monitoring and evaluation, that would be critical to assess the efficiency of this action to fulfill the targets and also give feedback to international donors and private sector. So the strategy will be evaluated at the end of every cropping season to assess the degree of achievement and also the progress of different activities and measures included in the framework. So the MOU M&E Technical Working Group will have the ultimate responsibility of monitoring and evaluating the implementation of this strategy, and the PSC will provide the oversight funds. So on sustainability mechanism, the strategy does not call for the creation of parallel entities to implement its activities. It rather depends on the existing government structures. That is, using the existing structures within the Ministry of Agriculture so that they can work together closely with local government authorities and private sector players. So the networks established between national institutions with international institutions, associations with rice development partners will also ensure that there is regular supply of new technologies.
My job is very simple this afternoon. It's just to moderate the first panel discussion on the theme land use and access.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon. Since we don't have time, let me go straight to my presentation. So I'm currently looking at the format of the presentation, introduction, and then we will talk about land access, land tenure, and then the typology of land tenure, and the nexus between land tenure and land use. And then the last one, we have conclusions and recommendations. Introduction, I think it is better to, it is good to start with a clear, let's all be clear about what is land, what are we talking about. And then this is a simple summarized definition from FL. Land is a physical entity which includes natural resources such as soils, minerals, agriculture, and forests. In the first place, we can ask ourselves, why talking about land in this forum? Land is central in our lives. It is the most valuable national asset. Land has been recognized as a primary source of wealth. It is also the basis of everything we do, food, shelter, and most of all, if not most of the economic activities. It is the most significant provider of employment, as alluded to by Musaso, the president of the Farmers Association. What is meant by access to land? Access to land refers to one's ability to use the land and other natural resources it holds. It also refers to control the resources and the ability to transfer the rights over land. And finally, take advantage of any other opportunities that you think is in your favor. That is the full definition of access to land. Why is access to land important? Economic growth tends to be higher and more broadly said when people have equitable and secured access to land. This is according to World Bank in 2005. Furthermore, secure access to land facilitates access to adequate and proper housing. It is a pathway out of poverty, creates opportunity for small businesses, enable farmers to grow crops or raise livestock, and do value addition. It can be used to secure credits where land can be used as collateral. It promotes private investment in agricultural sector. And finally, secure access to land is a precondition for women and youth empowerment. What are the challenges? Access to land is increasingly becoming competitive due to high population density and rapid urbanization. Climate change is increasingly reducing the area of land suitable for agriculture.
Now I would want to start with the panel discussion. We will start with dañoo commencé ci panel discussion bi ñu ngi commencé ak chef bi nekk Sierra North moom mu ngi tudda Père Ba nekk na chef fukki at ak juróom-ñaar ci ren kon yàgg na fa trop te li ñoo waxtaanee mooy naka la ñoo jëfandikoo suuf ak naka lañ ko amee.
Asalaamaaleykum maa ngi nuyu suma boss yu nekk fale chef Mama Lamine Baldé ak chef Yaya Jalsi maa ngi leen maa ngi nuyu ministre yu jóge fii ak mboolem koo xam ne nekk na fii ci wàllu agriculture ak buntu boo mun ak jóge maa ngi la nuyu. foog naa lu nekk gën a nekk problème bi foo xam ne ñu ngi fa béy maalo foog naa foofu la ñu war a jagal pour nit ñi mun a béy lu ñu war a béy waaye ñàkk am fu ñu béy fooguma ne am na ci Gambia yëpp wala amut ci CRR yëpp rek su fekkoon ne fuñ nekk di liggéey foofu liggéey nañ ko ba mu baax wallahi mun nañ wax ne Gambia yëpp toog ñun rek danañ leen dundal ci wàllu maalo waaye place yu bari ñu fa balaa ñu wax ne nañ joxe laan waaw boobu am na fayda trop waaye buñ kese am nañ ko toppatoo soo seetee depuis Lower Sal ba Potung Sami Potung nga seet Dankungu fu mu nekk ba Faraat soo seetee faro yu nekk foofu boo xam ne boobu lañ liggéey luñ liggéeyul ñoo gën a bari laan boo xam ne mënuñ fa liggéey doole nii ñun ñu génne suñu lifin liggéey ko mënuñ kon ñu ngi ñaan nguur bi ak yeneen projet yi ak NGO yi ñu jàppale ñu luñ am nañ ko liggéey naka lañ ko war a liggéeyee ñu mun a dundal Gambia yëpp.
Gambia be pomale alngatray fanangata munanam ko alngatray fanangata banko titano koma musol be koma nyaato musol be koma banko titano nyaato dindingol be koma abe musula abe kela banko titano nyaato man seno semben duya ate sotola banko mu hadama dingolet ala ko kilo musenolet yumale ya soso mota jambe ba soso because of mun kama mo bijam abe ka fenne do I'm sorry for say that na alfal bijam palastel bijam ndabe du ka fa ma kelo di musola ndan ko be ngon dol kunda mfata wala mama ñol ka janale do ku je kan ni ñaan o mu serum kolet mama ñol ka janale do ku je kan ni ñaan o mu serum net mama ka janale do ku je kan ni ñaan o mu ñinal net mun duma la be kele tati President Adam Barrow te bi jamu ketele itele be santo kana fonte mo la bamoto nebe ko jetil kele wato wati alna senola bunda jibe ngam fam fasa because of mantara mo fasa kam be fam na fasa kam jumala be jambe ka do moroke ni ke no di musola bi yadi bar musola ni ke no di musola bi yadi di musola ni ke no di musola bi yadi la musola why Gambia kelu mbama fama nyola ni bari kele alta ke no di la musola banko eta nyon ate kele mba pousse lante nga pousse le sens ne actionnaire ya pousse le 20 system data fuma wuti Kilimanjaro ñu humel nan campagne tata wala je 65 kilometers nga senele because of musol iku ngota daw dante kama ko kuntu gele
suñ buggee bay maalo duñ mun a am laan pour jël ko sax dem ren ko sax su fekkee ku mel ni man la su ma jëlul góor yónni ko na ko demal renal ma laan soo paree suma tur dora génn su ma demalee sama bopp man duma mun a am laan billaahi wallaahi tallaahi ak lu may wax su fekkee fen na yàlla bu ma génn suma fi ma dem sama lu tax loolu ñu ne fii duñ ko dimbale ndax kii góor la dafa sol tuboy góor dem na maaka si liggéey toolam dem na sampake si liggéey toolam mu ne du noppale ko bu ko kenn dimbale xanaa moom kenn rek moo nekk si Gambia te soo gisee maa ngay def loolu maa ngay liggéey Gambia pour ëllëg ndax dem naa place yu bari soo demee African rice nga dem fekk foofu korka rice su fekkee da nga nekk xale sax da nga war a góorgóorlu ndax jigéen la rek te lépp loo xam ne lu yokku Sénégal korka rice bokk na si lu koy def su fekkee ne ren bi yaa ngi bugg a béy benn kilo yaa ngi war a fay fukki saaku maalo su fekkee da ngay def running farming as a business yow nga toog sa ne nga def budgeting nga seet li nga xam ne loolu nga plawee sa fruit bi loolu nga jiw bi nga faa def ak añ bi nga faa lekk ak transport bi ngay def su fekkee ne yaa ngi dem di rider soo usee sa expenditure nga bugg a fay 10 bags of rice nga seet sa expenditure soo seetee na xam ne soo paree da ngaa luus loo war a def da ngaa toog noppale ko léegi ni fu ma waxee yow ni 100 bags of puus mu ci suma magasin kon ko mënuma am fu ma bee maalo ma dem bi dugub loolu yëpp dama ko ren waaye ren boobu moo tax ne dem di ren pour bee maalo nañ dimbalante nañ yërëmante nañ wecci jukko yi suñu wecci jukko yi rek dañ mën a dem forward mooy lan nañ yërëmante di dimbalante ci wàllu laan bi tey maa ngi xam 200 kg maalo boo xam ne waaye tey man su ma mënoon a am laan billaahi mun naa wax ne man mun naa béy about 25 hectares wala 30 hectares ndax am naa béykat yoo xam ne maa ngi leen employé ñu maa liggéey suma kër li ma lim ne moom laay liggéey fi yëpp benn doomu aadama la waaye dama jël nit yoo xam ne ñu maa dimbale pour di liggéey ndax ren sax masta am na koo xam ne wala dafa doon liggéey si man dafa ñëw tànje fan yi mu gaañu si ndox mi soo gisee loolu awma laa ñu doy yu ma war a béy ñu ma doon jël yëpp jëluma leen ma withdraw ko mu toog moom te amu fi mbéy mu ñu ngi dem tànje mu dem foofu la gaañu fan yi kon ba tey maa ngi ko masta loolu noonu.
As a private investor, we are currently growing 15 hectares of rice, and we have a very bold ambition to start growing rice on 3,000 hectares in 5 years' time. But as also the previous speaker, alone already the challenges on the land use are massive. And of course, for us, our experience in the Sapo area is that we have to deal with a lot of local communities which only have access to very small parameters of land. And having the discussions and the negotiations on the access of already these very small plots of land make it very difficult for us as a private investor to grow our company and to contribute to the self-sustenance of the Gambia. As I said, our ambition is to grow big, and also with the growth of the population, we have seen the numbers and the rise of the hectares and the tons of production that are necessary for the self-sustenance. This means that we need to put a lot of effort in getting access to the land, which makes it, of course, very cumbersome situation. It's really impossible. So I really call upon the policymakers to really think of the necessary reforms for private invested, private farmers to be able to achieve these goals.
At our end, we have challenges as far as having access to land, because sometimes even at the community level, people may not understand. You negotiate with the community heads and you are given a particular place to do production. 1-2 years down the line, even before the duration will expire, people will begin to have this notion that this gentleman is making a lot of money at our own expense, so we'll have to do something. So maybe some will try to distort that agreement, and that is very, very inconvenient as far as business is concerned.
We own the land, and then humans and animals use it. But I think humans are taking the greater part of it now. Mr. Kia Person, they are even taking what belongs to the animals, adding to what they have. And that is bringing conflict, not only in the Gambia, but within the West African countries. So in order to address that, Mr. Kia Person, I think we need to map out. We need to come out with very good land policies that will be able to help us, so that the farmers will know where to farm and the herders will know where they should be able to herd their animals. If not, we are not helping ourselves, Mr. Kia Person. And Mr. Kia Person, we should be very careful when we are developing land. Now we are talking about rice. And all the funds that we have, we will take it to buy equipment, we will take it to use it on land development. If we develop land for rice and forget about others, time will come, Mr. Chairperson, we will import rice, but we will import other agricultural production in this country. So it should be a mass development across the agricultural value chain. If not, others will be left behind. And I'm afraid that the livestock farmers may be left behind. And this is the reason why this year alone, Mr. Chairperson, over 41 herd of animals have moved from the Gambia to the southern part of Senegal because of this conflict. So I hope this gathering today, Director General, it will help the livestock sector, the agricultural sector, to put hands together. Let us map out what belongs to rice, what belongs to granite, what belongs to the women, and what belongs to the livestock sector. If not, there will be conflict in this country one day. I always said it, even our last security meeting, two things: political and tribal conflict in the Gambia, if you are not careful, and land problems. These are the two things that may bring problem in this country. And this gathering here today can be able to help to save us from such a problem.